What's up, everyone? Technical difficulties for a second. I had everything all set up real nicely and framed, and then randomly the phone decided to pick a different lens. So, my apologies for that. But what's up, Dennis? Hey! Okay, I'm glad you're here, Dennis, because I used your roast profile, and I made whatever this in here. It dropped at 210, but I didn't measure it yet, so that's for later. But I also used your profile for a whole bunch of other things that I'm going to explain in a second, but I have to turn on the Instagram stream also, so give me 1 second. Everyone on YouTube gets to watch Instagram at the same time. Okay, so Instagram, give me 1 second, and the reason that I haven't turned everything on yet is I've got to do some explanation first and some calibration. So let me see, airwave, oh come on, thanks Instagram. Okay, so let's see, we're going to call it roast by color. Update. Alright, this is going to be fun. 3, 2, I'll let you guys watch. And we're live on Instagram and on YouTube. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time, in order to make it a little more entertaining for the people who are on Instagram, is I'm going to hold on to this phone. So if you're watching on Instagram, you're going to see whatever I'm looking at. And if you're on YouTube, you're going to see, well, you can see what you can see. I'll show you on Instagram. This is what you can see on YouTube. The whole cool ass setup. And if you're on Instagram, you either get to see my face or whatever it is we're working on. So, thing number one that I want to explain is I was going to do like an unboxing and show everything about OmniFlux here, but then getting this all set up proved to be way more complicated than I expected. So we're going to, I set it up ahead of time so you guys don't have to sit here and watch, but we are going to go through the calibration process together. But just as like a little showy, look at this setup that I've got going on here. So yeah, the Instagrammers can take a look. So we've got this camera set up here so that you can see what's going on airwave and the roast. And we've got our grinder for testing. We've got OmniFlux with a camera so that you can see what's going on OmniFlux. We've got Omics so we can do some pre-testing. We've got a Rubik's Cube for when we are waiting for stuff. We've got a color meter for when OmniFlux is busy. And we've got this camera up here so you can see what's going on down here. And we've got this camera over here so you can see me. So yeah, that's our setup here. And if you're on YouTube, you just get to see all the cameras as their feed. So what we're doing today is we're going to try out roasting by color. And what exactly do I mean by that? Well, first, let's turn on the roast. Did I forget anything? No, we're good. All right, turn this guy on. But I've set a profile so that it does not heat, because right now I don't want any heat for a very good reason. And that reason is we need to calibrate OmniFlux's color. And if we're calibrating OmniFlux's color, we do not want, we've got the calibrate OmniFlux profile in here, so it is not heating so that the chamber stays cold, the drum stays cold, I mean. Let me just swap this. I want display dark mode, easier for you guys to see. Alright, so for the calibration process, welcome everyone who's joining. We're going to turn on OmniFlux. Let me make sure that you can see everything on YouTube here. Alright. So, OmniFlux is on, but the feed is not. Let me fix that real quick. Hold on. OmniFlux feed, why is it not? Oh, it's because the camera turned itself off. There we go. Alright, so now everyone can see what's going on here. Hello, 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 everyone who is now joining. Okay, so for the calibration process, the first thing that we need to do is go in here to calibrate, roaster vision, and we need to measure the Actron color of my samples. Now normally I would just use OmniFlux because OmniFlux comes with this guy here so that we can use it as a standard color meter, and we would put our beans in here. But the problem with that is I don't want to move it and ruin this setup here. So instead what we're going to do is use Omni to measure the color of our unroasted coffee here. In case you're curious, this is our Mulian Kaku Catamore 1400 meters plus wash process coffee, the one that I've been roasting every time. So we're going to bust out our coffee from we're going to use a Omix dish. You can see that, right? Yeah, okay, so we're going to dump a little bit of this guy in here. And we are going to measure our green coffee. Never thought you'd be doing that, huh? Gotta know the color ahead of time. So, color of our green coffee is 121.5. Okay? So we're going to come over here to OmniFlux, and we're going to go to green coffee here, and we're going to do 100. Let's see, 121 point. Oh, hey, it turned off. Okay, so here. That's annoying. Why did it turn off? Did it turn off? It did turn off. Why did it turn off? Don't do that. What the? Oh, I think I know why. Alright. There we go. 121 point, whoops, that's 0.6. Where's 5? 0.5. Alright, so our green coffee is calibrated in there. I think the reason is because this is auto screen turning off. Let me just switch the settings here. Display and brightness. We want, how do I do auto turn off settings? Why don't you put them in the display settings? Screen. No results for screen? Are you kidding me? How do you make it so the screen does not turn off? Control center, standby, no. Screen time, no. Privacy and security, no. You'd think it'd be under display and brightness, wouldn't you? Oh my god, I'm gonna have to literally ChatGPT how to do this. How do I make an iPhone screen not turn off? ChatGPT says it's not under display and brightness, I promise. Display and brightness. Night shift. Oh, it is. God, I'm stupid. Well, let's try that. Okay, success. I swear it wasn't there, Hadu. Okay, just so I don't look like an idiot, look at this. The other day I was trying to do Siri settings because I wanted her to listen to me when I'm not... Oh, look, this phone doesn't even have Siri settings. Literally does not have them. It's that, and it was in accessibility and not under regular series. So, not my fault. Okay, so our roasted coffee. Let's go back here. Our roasted coffee sample. Okay, roasted coffee. We need something that is more of a darker roast. So I'm going to come over here. Let's see which ones of these are full. Sophie, where did you put all the coffee that was in? Oh, they're over here. Okay. Okay, so let's grab the 40 to 47. Only 15 plus can do it though. Wait, only 15 plus can do what? Oh, Siri settings? Because that's an iPhone 12. Okay, so let's, I already wrote it down here. It was a 40, but I'm just going to make sure because I only measured one sample and I did it very quickly and I want to make sure that this is accurate. So, our sample is 42. Okay. So, we'll come back over here to our roasted sample and we're going to do 42. Okay, next. We are aimed a proper distance from our roasting machine. Next. Okay, so we need to charge our green sample. So I'm going to get enough to actually properly fill the roaster. Our drum temp's at 22, so we're okay. We should probably, we're not heating, we're good. Okay, inlet temperature, why is it going up? That's really weird. It's supposed to be at 0. It's burnt, exactly. Alright, now our power level's back at 0. Okay, so we dump this in, spilled a couple beans, that's okay. Charge this. Now, we're still not heating because this is just our calibration mode, so record sample. Recording. Just a heads up, it says here charge roasted sample. That's a bug. It meant to say green sample. That's why I'm testing here. We gotta fix that before we release it. Okay, so now I can drop the green sample. Okay, green sample is officially dropped. I'm just gonna, yeah, it's cold. I'm just gonna dump it back in the bag here. And now we need to charge our, and make sure OBS is going okay. Alright, we good. Nice. Okay, so we need to charge our roasted samples, so let's just dump this in here. Bet no one's ever done that before. Actually, I'll put in a little more because I want to make sure that it's going to fill the screen. Alright, charge that. Oh, it's getting clogged. Go in. There we go. Okay, record sample. When is it planned to release? End of this month. End of this month we are doing like a pre-launch sale, and I'm not exactly sure on the ship date. These units are all like there's 50 or so beta test units. And once the, okay, we're finished calibrating. Once the beta test is done, we will do the pre-sale and then like the full manufacturing run. So right now we're working out all the bugs. So now we can drop the roasted sample. Alright, and I can dump this back into our handy dandy roast tray. Alright. Put that back in there. This guy in here. And theoretically, we should be fully calibrated now. I did this process yesterday as a test, and I realized that my angle was not right. If you don't have a good angle, then you risk introducing some glare, which can affect the color reading. So this is my second attempt, because they, in testing at the office in Shenzhen, did not have the same problem that I did, where there was a difference between the reading when it came out and the reading inside. It's also possible that the light on the inside made a difference. So does it matter what kind of glass it's looking through? No, it doesn't matter what kind. It just needs to be calibrated with that specific glass. So every roaster, every time you, if you reposition, it needs to be calibrated to that exact situation and position and glass and roaster and everything like that. It's fixed. Okay, now we can switch to our, I'm calling this Kaku Dark because, but this is the same profile that Dennis created for us. This guy, Dennis, he created an inlet, an inlet temperature profile, and I extended it so that we can make our bean temperature all the way up to 250, so that my goal here has been to, expected accuracy, I believe, is 0.5 agtron when you are doing a color test this way, and I think 1 agtron this way, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to get back to you on that one. I don't know the specific, but I'm 90% sure that's what it is. So, what was I saying? Power level is at 0 because we are not. Oh yeah, so I extended Dennis's profile out just so that I can do it for longer, because when I was at the Portland Coffee Festival, actually it was the day before, they had the Roast Summit, and at the Roast Summit they were saying there was a talk by this guy named Rob Coons, and he was talking about the kind of lost art of dark roasting, because specialty coffee is pretty much exclusively light roast, and so we did this long thing of testing different dark roasted coffees, and so it was kind of a fun experiment because it was good quality coffees all roasted in very dark but in different ways. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set, I have a tripod stand type thing so that you guys can Instagram watch. Okay, so I'm going to dump these back in here while the machine heats. But I also thought it would be fun to do some dark roasting today for a couple of reasons. One, so you can kind of get a see for how OmniFlux reads over time, and so you can get an idea of how AirWave works when you have a lot more than just a tiny bit of smoke. So I'm going to eat a grape. I'm going to come around here, and I'll make sure that AirWave is ready to go. So the other cool thing about AirWave and OmniFlux is that I can come in here and go to Settings, Device Settings, Connections, AirWave Connect, Connect to AirWave. And so now AirWave is connected. So then I can go into our settings and change it to auto. Sweet. And then turn them on. So now I don't have to do anything. It's just going to be, so right now the temperature is 28 degrees. And the catalyst temperature, because it's not heating, because we're not roasting. But once we start roasting, we're going to go to roast track. I don't need that actually yet. I'm just going to stay here. But because it's going to detect automatically when to drop the beans. So our drum temp is at 84. So let's do some. Oh, I forgot to put that in there. Let's do some testing. So here, we'll do this first. So let me turn Onyx on. I'm gonna set Instagram down over here. Alright. Okay, so once that's on, alright, let's fill up our sample. I like to make sure to give it a test each time because I like to see how it changes over time, especially because on a couple occasions I forgot to close the bag, and so I hope it's not drying out too quickly. That would suck. Okay, so bust this guy out. Try not to dump beans everywhere and just keep them on the plate. Alright. Shazim zam. Shabim bam. Alright, let's pop this guy in here. Now, I'm gonna let it sit for a little while because there's air in here. And so each time you open it, you get external air in, and if you want to get a good, accurate water activity measurement, you kind of want to let it equalize for a little bit. You don't have to, and it won't make a huge difference, but it's good to do if you want really accurate results. And usually I don't care because I've tested this coffee 1,000 times, but while I was in Portland, I went to Autumn Coffee Roasters, and the guy who started that place, and I apologize, I can't remember his name, he told me that he likes coffees with a really high water activity because it makes some good flavors. And I'm curious what the really accurate water activity of my current coffee is right now. So that's why I am trying a little harder to get an accurate water activity reading. Welcome! Hey Rob, and Jose, and Seven Amaz, and Pixel Patty, and Stevie, and Igara Chambano, and Tade Bichilsma. There's so many hard names to pronounce, I apologize. Bean Alchemy, that's not a hard one. Masari. Welcome, 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 welcome everyone. Alright, that's probably long enough. So let's give it a moisture test, which did not need to be at equilibrium. So we're at 8.9%. I don't know if you can see that on YouTube, but 8.9%. Give it a water activity test. In the meantime, our density. So we've got a bulk density of 850.3 grams per liter. An average bean volume of 168. And a true density approximately of 1,130.7 grams per liter. I don't really have a ton of comparisons of what other coffees are because this is pretty much the only coffee I've ever roasted. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not 100% sure what to do about the density. I'm sure some of you are much more experienced in that realm than me. Okay, so our water activity is 0.469. 0.469. That is our water activity. So 8.9% moisture means our coffee has dried a little bit. Oops. Should not have left it open because it was like 9.3% moisture before. But that's okay. Okay, so our drum speed right now is set to 50. I think what I'm going to do, what I learned from Rob, as we get into the darker and darker roasts, what we want to do is increase the drum speed so we get less contact and more airflow into, so that we kind of don't burn the outside while we're trying to finish cooking the insides, roasting the insides, whatever you want to call it. So, I think we're ready. I'm going to set this down for a second just so I can dump this in without spilling. I still spilled. Okay, are we ready everyone? Are we ready for some roast by color? Alright, before I do that, the last thing I gotta do is change, let me go to our roast curves here, I'm going to change it to live. Oh, it's already on live. Okay, we're good there. And back to OBS. Okay, I think we're ready. So we're going to go to roast track, and it should start automatically. So let's try this. Here we go. Roasting dark. Go! Alright. It did start automatically. Our goal is 20 agtron. We can adjust that goal if we want to, but for now, let's just go all the way. We're going to stop it at 20 agtron. A real dark roast. Oh yes. Sorry for standing in front of the camera, everyone. So, I don't have any coffee to test while we wait. So, I guess we're just waiting. So we can see our rate of rise. Our rate of change is, it's interesting what happens to the color of the coffee when you start. You kind of expect that it's just going to go down, but the color starts at kind of a greenish, but as it yellows, it actually gets like a higher color. So right now we're at 125.6. It doesn't always go up. Depends on the coffee. My roast master told me never go to the dark side. That's so funny. Literally the whole talk at this roast summit by Rob, he was like, everyone told me, like, all the way through, like, learning how to roast, and all these professional roasters, they're all like, yeah, you don't go dark. You ruin the coffee. And the point that he was trying to make was like, if you give yourself such like hard, fast rules, you kind of lose out on like potential experimentation and good flavor. So it's like, don't just assume that you can't. Try things. And so considering I'm just trying to learn, and also that dark roasted affogatos taste really, really, really good, I'm going to go for that. But I'm also going to try and not waste my coffee here, and I'm going to dump this guy back in here. Every last bean counts. But sweet. By the way, thanks Dennis for this profile. It works so well. So like, yeah, if I look at the curves right now, such a perfect, beautiful curve. It dropped down to, what's the drum temperature? No, that bean temp. Dropped down to 76.7. And now it's heading back up. So yeah, this is what I did. I just extended out the down to the going down to 300, all the way to like 10 minutes. Out of curiosity, how did you like build this profile? What was your thought process that went into the way that you did it? Like I can see like it's like it starts out with a higher temperature and then slowly drops down and then keeps it kind of a constant. But why did you pick the temperatures that you did? Ooh, hey Ben! Most of Rob's bad coffee tasted better than the majority of what I've paid for, right? I thought the same thing. So yeah, see, the color kind of goes up for a little bit before it drops back down. So now we've reached the yellowing point. It marked it automatically for us. I found it to be interesting in my testing last night. So OmniFlux will also track your cracks, but the ROEST also tracks your cracks. And because the ROEST has like its sensors on the inside of the machine, this is probably always going to be more accurate. Because like sometimes occasionally the ROEST will like the metal as it's expanding, as it heats, will make like a sound, and OmniFlux will hear that as a crack. But the number between them of cracks that it hears is quite similar, so still quite good, and especially useful if your roaster is not tracking the cracks for you. So we're at 113 right now, and Airwave has started heating, so we're at 200 degrees and 38% airflow. No cracks yet, we're at 188 degrees. I don't know why the target temperature changed back. It must have been because I changed it too early before we started. I need to change that in the profile. Several times I've accidentally dropped it 210 when I didn't want to because I forgot to change the target temperature. Oh, and Dennis, I changed the what's it called? The development time in the settings to 3 minutes. So should be problem solved. Okay, for me, that profile would finish in 7 minutes or so. Beans take heat in better early because they're cold, then they start heating so they won't take in as much heat, so you need to push the heat early. Got it. So do you think, if I wanted to do a darker roast, do you think I should push it, take the heat higher, earlier, for longer? Or should I just push the heat even higher? Like, would I be better off higher heat or slightly lower for longer? Like maybe push this, let's see, what was it at? Like 350, air temp, 263. Wait, no, it's air temp. Power, where's inlet temp? Oh, there's not enough room to display. That's why. Well, we got one crack. So OmniFlux has marked first crack. The threshold on here is probably higher. So we're at 82 Agtron right now. In my experience, it got to about 60 Agtron, around 210, but that was when I had not calibrated it properly, so we'll see how this goes. Welcome all you new peeps. Lowy Barista. $26 cracks it's counted. 75.3 Agtron. We're at 207 degrees. Our catalyst temperature is back up to 248. Not back up, is now up to. Alright, I'm going to come around to the other side. Actually, I don't need to. Ooh, sweet. Okay, so I would go into the profile and I have a setting to add 10 or 15 to all points. I would have that point near 6 minutes instead of dropping to 300. That much I would have dropped less. Okay, I'll do that next time. I'll just let this one go. Thanks, Dennis. $215 degrees and 64 Agtron. Did you hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. The metal did one of those cracks that I heard. really interesting that what the cracks that register on the ROEST, I don't hear. This coffee seems to have a very low crack amount. We're at 10 minutes, so I probably should push a little hotter like you said next. Alright, we're at 57 agtron. $64 agtron from the outside. Yeah, that's correct. We're at 228 degrees. I don't know if this would be considered more first cracks or is this second crack. What do you guys think? We're at 50 agtron. 49. Drum speed is at 55. I'm going to turn it up now, so let's see. I'm turning it up to 65. I need increased airflow here. We're at 239 degrees, 35 agtron. I think I need a little more airflow here because we're getting lots of smoke. $25 agtron. 23, 22, 21, 20. Alright, hopefully this smoke does not make the smoke alarm go off, because it did last night. I dropped the beans and immediately the smoke alarm went off and I was like, oh, well now I know that Airwave's been working because it didn't have any problems until I dropped the coffee, but this time it seems to be okay. Because it sucked it in. The first time oh, no, still got a smoke alarm. Sorry about that. Okay, stop. I hear it. I get it. I get it. You don't need to keep smoking. I get it. Thank you. Okay, so dropping the beans is a problem. I need to figure out how to airwave the dropping part. But let's see what our results are. Let's do our second batch. Actually, first, let's go in and do what Dennis said. Okay, so second crack now, yes, end of second crack. Tiny bit more inlet before and after first crack, so the crack is more obvious. Okay, so while that's, let me make sure, did I close this? No. Okay, so let's keep that heating, and I'm going to do what you said. So add 10 to 15 to all points. I would also have that point near 6 minutes instead of dropping to 300 to 310 that much. I would have dropped less, say 325. Okay. So first I'll go in and I'm going to profiles. And we're going to Kaku darker. And let's see, add 10 to 15, adjust all points. At a fixed time, no, I want fixed value, plus, let's just go 15. People are laughing at me. Okay, adjust all points. Okay, so we're up. And then you said, I would also have that point near 6 minutes instead of dropping to 300 that much. You drop to, okay, so 6 minutes, 325. And then 325. And the point at 5 minutes, 30 seconds to 6. Bump it. Higher than 329, or do you think that this is good now? I'm going to take off that parentheses, and we're going to call it number 2. Make it higher, because now it's 322, it is 300 before adding 15. Oh, I think that's there's probably a delay in, I'll make sure that you've seen what I have here. So, add 10 to those points at 5 minutes, 30 seconds to 6 minutes and above. I'm not sure if you mean add 10 now, or if you haven't seen that I added, that I bumped it up. So are you saying this should be like 335? Or is 329 to 325 at the end, 325 good? Because that's probably good. It seems like what you would say. $335, don't be afraid. Okay, I ain't afraid, I just want to follow your advice. Alright, then I'll do 333 here. I wish I could weigh in on this conversation, but I'm still at work. What are you doing at work? Are you roasting? Or are you doing something else? That decline just before 6 minutes. Mark it at 335. Alright, we're doing 335 on the dot, not 336. Alright. What do you think about preheat temp? Do you think 220 is good, or should I make it higher or lower? And also I wanted to set this to 250 just so that it doesn't auto drop. Portion packing. Ooh, that sounds fun. Looks good. You can also add 10% to all fan exhaust points. Okay. Fan. Just all points. Fixed value. 10. Just all points. Update profile. PP 220 is me. You can go to 240. Oh, I read that wrong. I thought you said is mad. Like, that's way too high. Okay, so go to 240 or 250. Let's go 250. Because it seems like I want to start higher. What do you think about drum direction? Do you think it makes a big difference? I kind of want to try it, but I don't actually know what it's going to do and what kind of a difference I would expect. Right now our drum temp is at 144.2. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm waving at all the people on Instagram. Alright, leave it like that. If you try counterflow, you must drop all the inlets by 40 to 50 because counterflow is way more efficient. Wait, why would you not want to roast like that all the time then? I'm going to leave it like this just because I've never done anything. I've never done it before and I want to try this. But what makes it more efficient? And if so, why would I not want to always roast on counterflow? So update profile again just to be sure it's assigned to. Alright, and let me just sync here. And copy 2. Alright, so the inlet temperature is going up so that it can preheat to a slightly higher temperature. While we wait for that, let me get my dose ready. Pop this over here. Do another bean sweep. Beans everywhere. Alright. Clean up my mess real quick. Dump this back in here and close it up. Alright. I think I'm about ready. Hey! You made it, NIRQ! In normal flow mode, the roaster is a bit more towards a drum roaster. In counterflow, it's more like an air fluid bed roaster. Interesting. I'm definitely going to have to try that. Because at the Roast Summit, we got to watch people roast on different kinds of roasters next to each other. One of them was an air/fluid bed roaster. Super loud. Very cool though. Okay, I think we're ready. So let's go back here. Our ending, what was the ending value? It didn't say. Gotta change that. Okay, so, oh yeah, we stopped at a 20, that's right. So we're gonna go roast track, do a new roast track, and alright, and let's go. Boom. Okay, you're good. Sorry I didn't show you that Instagram. I forgot to pick up the phone. Okay, so in the meantime, now while that roasts, let's go back over to our curves, and we'll change this to live. Unfortunately, my OmniFlux, hey wait. OmniFlux, how do you know about OmniFlux? OmniFlux over here, I was going to bring it with me to, where's our curves? I was going to bring it with me to the Roast Summit, and it didn't arrive until the day after I left, so Rob did not get to check it out, unfortunately. Yeah, I saved and updated it. You do that while roasting, you can change profiles. Yeah. Yeah, I saved and I updated and I synced, and it is all good now. And so now, I better make sure that I have this cleared out of here. So let's measure some color. So I'm going to set this down here. That is quite dark. So I think this time I'm going to go for the same color-ish. Maybe I don't want to go this dark. Let me see what it is and then we'll decide. So let's see. Let's get our Omni over here. And get this guy over there. Smooth off the top here. This machine is so nice to use. All right. Our results, 30. So this is our average, but you can see here we've got, let me show you Instagram too. We've got most of the roast is down below 30, but we do have some beans that are still above, and like not some beans, it's like bits and pieces of beans. So our average is 30. I wonder what it will be ground. I also wonder if my calibration is accurate on here. It may take a little bit of finagling to get the angle right. But that does seem pretty close considering most of the sample is under 30. And we stopped it at 20. So I'll have to ask the engineering team if I'm doing everything right. But in the meantime, this seems pretty good. So if that was 30, let's see what happens this time if I stop it at exactly 30. If we get 40, we know my calibration is off. If we get a similar arrangement here with the distribution, we will know. So in the meantime, while that is roasting, we're at 128, still drying. So I'm gonna put this guy here for a second while we, whoops, there we go, while we package this guy up. So here's what I've been doing. Eventually my plan is to do a cupping with everything that I've roasted. So I'm putting everything in these tins that I got. We're at 178 degrees and we are at 117 on our color. Yeah, I just heard one crack. Right? It's so crazy how much like expansion happens on a dark roast. Where it's like literally like, here, Dennis, look at this. This is the one that dropped at 210 following the profile, and this is the one I just filled. It's the exact same amount of coffee. That's kind of hard to see on there, but this one's way more full. It expands so much more. That's interesting. Alright, so we got 30 Agtron on this one, so let me write that down. Let me grab our tape over here. Let's get a label on the side of this guy. And where's my pen? I should have grabbed the pen and the tape. I'm hearing some cracks. Alright, we're going to call this Kaku 30, and later we are going to measure the ground. Let's see. Right. Getting lots of cracks now. Yeah, and they're louder and more prominent, so the count between, we're at 13 cracks, 14, 15, 19, this is 15. Let's turn this down, I don't need that much airflow. 258. Alright, we're going to go 30, and I'm going to try really hard to not allow the smoke alarm to go off because it really hurts my ears. But it's good to know that Airwave is working quite well because throughout the whole roast I get no smoke alarm, no smoke smell, everything is great. As soon as I drop the beans, I've got smoke. Alright, 60 Agtron. Oh, I never turned the drum speed down. Well, I guess we're going full drum the whole time. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer to the best of my ability. We're at 53. Definitely a second crack at this point. 235, 46, 45, 44. I'm gonna get ready. 42, 41. 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30. Please no fire alarm. Any smoke alarm. Sweet. Alright, that stopped automatically, so if we take a look at our color curve. Damn it! I get it! Turn off! I get it! Shut up! I get it! Shut up! Yep, I get it! Shut up! I get it! Shut up! I don't know why there's no option for, yes, I know. Okay, we good now. So let's not roast so dark anymore because I don't like the sound of the smoke alarm. I need one of those, I need to get like a valve for Airwave so that like when I drop the beans I can suck the smoke from here and not have to deal with it. That would be an ideal solution. But man, Airwave works super well. Okay, next batch. Let's do like a 50 this time. Darker roast, please. I am kind of tempted to go even darker, but at the same time I feel like I'm just wasting it at the point, but at the same time, I guess I'm not. Okay, let me measure what the color is on this one. And if it's, we stopped it at 30, so if it's 40, we'll go down to, we'll go down a little darker just to try it. But because my goal at the end is I'm going to have one of like every possible color. And so the top number is the whole bean color and the bottom number is the grounds color. So my plan is to make one of like everything. So over here, we've got 50, 60, and then we've got 45. I haven't measured the inside yet, we're going to do that in a little bit. And then we've got 61. And then we've got 60, 71, where I did measure the inside and outside. And we've got another 45 because I accidentally dropped it at the same time. So the plan is to get something like everywhere along the spectrum and then try doing a cupping with all of them at the same time. What do you mean by bump up? Bump up the flow? Do you mean, go back here, profiles. We'll go to the darker profile. Do you mean the airflow? Bump up the airflow? No, ignore me. Okay, let's see. I'm kind of tempted to try this counterflow thing. It seems like that would be pretty cool. Drop all the inlets by 40 to 50 degrees. Man, this thing has so many features. So cool. Okay, should I do that or should I just... Oh, right, I was going to test the color first. Okay, hold on. Let's do that first. So, let's see what our results bring us. Alright, let's see. Sample in there. That bean is actually quite light. That one's much bigger than the rest of them. And then, here, you can take a look at that. Wait, I can't see what you can see. Okay, yeah, that bean, lighter and also much bigger. That bean is really small. There's quite a variance there. I'll show you what I mean, Instagram. Look at that bean in comparison to the rest. So this will be an interesting color test. We got 38.7. So it seems like my calibration is a little bit off by about 10 points. But it's pretty consistent in terms of like the drop, the drop number. Okay, so then this time I'm gonna go for, I did 20 the first time, so this is 38, so this is actually really similar to this one. But I don't need this much dark roast coffee. So I think I'm going to go for like a... What do I not have yet? Do I have 65? I want like all of the things on the way to the... I have 60, 61, 45, 30, 40... 45, 50. Okay, so I'm going to go for like a 60 on the dot. If I'm going to do that, I wonder if I should turn this back down. Take them out. It can be unripe beans. I will do that. I will do that. Whoops, that's not what I want. I want this. Alright, so if I'm going to be doing slightly lighter roast, I probably want to bring this back down. Maybe I should go with, let me go to profiles. And let me go back to Dennis's profile. And I'm going to do save as new. We're going to call this Kaku Medium. And so let me see. Preheat temp, let's go to 250 again. beam temp, let's go, I'm just going to do 250 because I don't know what time it's going to get to that color. And then the rest of this looks good, except I'm going to go a little bit further. So you know what? I'm just going to raise these by 5. And then I'm going to leave everything else. Fan 80%, RPM 55. I'm going to raise the fan by 5. Alright, update profile, profiles, let's go Kaku medium, and we're going to replace Kaku inlet 320, assign to machine. Okay. I think we are officially ready. Welcome all you new peeps. We are roasting by color. So let's come back over here. We're going to go to sync and medium. And then let's get our okay, so let's get a little bit more coffee here. And alright. How did this end up on the floor? I don't remember putting it there. Get that out of the way real quick. Put this on here. Probably going to spill some beans, but that's okay. Oh, I didn't. Look at that. Alright, so we're going for 65. Here we go. Let me, hold on. Dump these in. Alright. We're going for 65. Are we ready, guys? Get OmniFlux ready. And go. Wait. Bing bang. Alright, that's going, and in the meantime, I'm going to do one more color test on here. Let me actually dump this in here so that I don't... Alright, stop making it. Okay, I'm going to put some of these in here, and I'm going to do one more test. So the first one was 38.7, this one says 37.7, okay, so 38 seems about right. So let's need another one. Cool. Okay. Dump this guy in here. Whoops, going everywhere. Want some coffee?
I had some this morning.
I didn't get a chance to make any for Sophie this morning. She woke up too late.
So you should come to mine.
See ya. Thanks, Ed. Okay, what are we at? 118.1. We still got plenty of time. We're at 118 in temperature. And let's take a look at our live profile. Forgot to do that. All right. We're doing well. Okay, I'm going to put this guy here. While I write Kaku 38. Alright, after this roast, we are going to move over to Color Station, and we're going to do a bunch of testing on the ins and outs. So we're aiming for 65 this time. Barista Raphael, welcome. $128.2, bean temperature 161. 3 minutes in. Our catalyst temperature is at 150. Haven't quite reached our yellow point. So while we wait, we can do the only thing that you can do while you wait. We drink some weird tasting cold brew. I didn't do a good job on that cold brew. Not very good. Okay. We're at 117. So I'm going to introduce a thing that I want to start doing. And that is, I'm going to aim this guy over here. Because I know that while I do all this roasting, I'm going to have a lot of free time. I'm going to start solving this Rubik's Cube. And by the time I in a master roaster, no, actually, I can solve this thing relatively quickly in comparison to how long it's going to take me to be a master roaster. But if every once in a while I come in here and do a row, like for example, we'll start with blue. There we go, we got blue. And we come down here, we got another blue. And one more blue. Where's the last one? We need that blue. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so... wait, no, that one's on the wrong side. Oh, there it is. Wait, that one's also on the wrong side. What are we at? 91. I gotta hurry. Where's the other... There it is. Okay. Alright, we got one strip of blue. It's gonna take us a while. Alright, air wave is ramping up because we're getting some smoke. '87 Actron. Bean temperature is at 202, 79 Actron. 6 minutes, 45 seconds. Bean temperature 204. 76. $75. 73. 72. 71, 70, 69. Takes an average like every second, because obviously not all the beans are roasting at exactly the same rate, so sometimes it'll fluctuate between a number a little bit. But and 65. Ooh, those look good. That's gonna be a good one. That's a good roast. All right, let those cool. And then we are going to do some fun testing. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful indeed. Thanks, Barista Roberto. Alright, so while that cools, we are pretty done with airwave at this point. We don't need any more filtration. So, what we can do now is go in here. We don't need this plugged in. So, pop this guy off. I'll leave it actually on because I forgot that YouTube needs to be able to see it. So, let's go back, go to our history. Yeah, roast track history. So currently this number is showing what our goal number was, not what our final result number was, which I don't think is ideal. I think we should change that. Whoops. Alright, so it's interesting, like it's kind of, the color remains pretty constant, then it yellows and starts to go up, and then it just falls back down. That's pretty much the pattern that we get every time. Meow. But it's kind of curved a little bit. This one has a little bit of a, I guess during the second crack it kind of leveled out a little bit, but then it plummeted pretty fast. The accuracy of OmniFlux, I believe, is 1 agtron, but the calibration needs to be done precisely, and I did not get a full rundown of the calibration procedure, so I think I did something wrong because I'm getting I'm getting consistent results, but my result is about 10 off of what it's measuring outside the roaster. So I gotta ask the engineer some questions on what I need to do to get that going properly. But in terms of its precision, 1 agtron. Alright, so now I can turn airwave off. Don't need it anymore. And once it cools down to about 40 degrees, I can shut it off, and I'm going to swap to my fancy KitchenAid grinder that I found at an estate sale for $10, actually $7, and it has a glass hopper and a glass bean catcher tray, whatever you want to call it. Right, we good on temperature here, turn off. So, I'm going to pop this guy, let's see, where should I put you Instagrammers? I'll put you over here, while you YouTubers can just watch from above like the gods you apparently are. Okay. So, Alright, so I'm going to bring up the curve of each one that we're going to test. So let's start with, this is the roast that we just did. This is the bean temp is 212.1, and I ended it at 65. So let's measure the color of that one. That would be this one. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. You also have temperature gauges here, but I didn't turn them on because I didn't plug in the temperature probe because I don't have anywhere to put the temperature probe. But if I did, you'd be able to switch between temperature and color curves there. So, let's put this guy in here. Alright. And I'm going to dump these in here. And this too. Alright, I'm measuring color with Omni because it has the newest interface. So Omics is going to be getting a huge update, but it's kind of complicated because we're changing the way that you do it. And because of that, it needs to make sure to take all of the old data into account. So the UI update for Omics is going to take a little while. The Omni update makes it so that the distribution is not scaled, so it's very consistent, so you can compare between them and easily see the distribution across the whole range without it changing the range each time. Roasters found that to be more useful, and so we changed that. And Omni is the only one with the update so far. 63, okay. So that's interesting because the dark roast was a little bit, well, it is because obviously not every bean is the same color, and we're getting a rolling average on OmniFlux. Whereas here we're getting a single average of whatever it is that I'm measuring. So it is very possible that the rolling average would change if I was to measure every single one of these beans here instead of just one sample. That could be why I'm getting a slight discrepancy when I'm dropping my beans at a certain color and then seeing a slight difference when I measure afterward, because obviously it's not all the same color. What we can do, I can show you real quick. It's going to ruin this view here, but it's also useful to see because OmniFlux has a feature here where we can do a color scan. Now this color scan mode, it will give you a distribution, but it is not as accurate as Omni because Omni's got obviously a fixed sample prep environment, and this is more for like a general idea of your sample here, but it's still quite useful. So here we've got 58.7. So that's everything that's on the surface here. Also the beans are a little warm still, which is also going to affect my reading. I should probably wait till they're totally cold. But here, I'm going to do add test rather than starting a new one, so I'm adding results. Also, the chaff is probably making a little bit of a difference in there because the chaff is different colors. So we're at 57.9. Let me try another sample here and see what we get. Between 57 and 63. Also, Omni has an algorithm built in for ignoring chaff. It will detect where the chaff is and remove it from the sample. You'd be better off trying to get rid of the chaff because then you get more sample in one sample. But at least it's not going to be skewing your reading. So I would trust the Omni result here more because it has that algorithm built in the standardized testing environment, but it is quite useful to have the, where should I dump these? Let's try it this way. So this is going to give you a more accurate result. If we take OmniFlux here and we go to color test mode, this one's going to give you a much closer, it's still only a single point sensor instead of a color scanning sensor like we have in Omni here. But this is the most accurate way to test color afterward with OmniFlux. So let's see what we get here. Can you see that, Instagram? There we go. Test. 59.2. A little bit off. Here, actually, you know what? I just realized I didn't calibrate this when I got it. I should probably do that. So over here, hold on one sec. Let me grab the calibration plate. Where did I put it? I could have sworn I put it there. Is it over here? Is it over here? What? Hold on. My apologies. Hold on. Not here. Oh, I remember. I put it in the box. So this is the box that OmniFlux comes in. And this is the calibration plate, which is important. Probably should have done that. I calibrated it for the roaster vision, but I did not calibrate it for testing color. So let's do that now. So we're going to calibrate color accuracy. Value 1 is, it's upside down, 23. I'll just put it here. 23.4. Done. And value 2 is 89.5. Done. Next. Okay, so use OmniFlux's color test extension. Place it over the first one. Test. Okay, now value 2. Test. Calibrate. Done. Alright, now let's see what we get. Measure, color test, new test. Oh, guess it was calibrated. Okay. Oh, I know why. Let's see, if we turn the chaff detection, general, no, it's not under general, it's under roast. Silver skin detection. Let's turn it off. Oh, running out of battery here. And then let's use, this is also not going to be quite that exactly the same situation because the beams are going to be facing a different direction. But let's see what we get here. That chaff is probably going to make some difference. Ooh, 65. Let's see if we flip these over. This is why it matters to grind your coffee, because obviously the whole sample is not the same, and you're going to get kind of a different distribution each time. It's why you want to take a bunch of samples. 65. It's also still warm, which again is not ideal. Alright. Now let's see what we get. Thanks, Dennis. See ya. Sleep well. 65.1. Okay. And then let's try one more with OmniFlux here. Let's get a different sample of that. If we get far off, I think I might be doing something wrong and I should ask, or there's an issue that needs to be fixed, hence the beta test. But I'm not sure how much of it is the device and how much of it is coffee's just different. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it just depends on the bits of the sample, which is why you're going to want to take many tests, because you're getting different beans, different sides of the bean, different bits and pieces. Let's try one more color scan. New test. Oh, I'm too, wait, I'm too far away. I mean too close. $60.6. Okay, now let's do some grinding. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this guy back on here, and I can pop this guy back here, and let's grind a little bit of this, and we'll see what our results are ground. So, Instagram, you'll just have to listen and assume that I am grinding. I'm doing it for espresso. So I'm doing the finest grind that this grinder will allow. So let's do that. I'm going to dump out the first tiny bit, because I want to make sure I clear out whatever was in there before. Alright, now I'm going to move this to here, flip this guy over, you can also flip this guy over. Alright, and can you see Instagram? Nope, there we go. Alright. Shazam. So the ground sample is going to be much more even and less variance, because it's pretty much homogenized. So let's see what we get here. 79.0 on the dot. Much less variance, but still some variance. We've got a lot between 60 and 70, most of it between 70 and 80, and then a lot between 80 and 90, and then a little bit between 90 and 100, and then a little bit between 100 and 110, and a little bit between 50 and 60. Everything else we got nothing. So relatively homogenized, but still recognizing some difference in there. Now let's try on OmniFlux. So again, we can expect a little bit of difference, because Omni has maximum precision, but also because now I've moved the sample around, so we're having different bits and pieces, and also I don't have enough. So here, let me grind a little bit more to make sure I can fill the sample plate entirely. Alright, let's try that. I apologize, YouTube, that I had my back to you the whole time. I probably should have been standing on this side of the table, and also this should probably be turned a little bit. I swear, when I started the stream, it was perfect, and then all of a sudden the phone switched to a different lens, and it was no longer perfect. I was disappointed. Okay, so let's finagle that around. So again, now I've ground some different beans, so I should expect a little bit of variance between what I got on my first test and what I'm going to get here, but not a supreme amount of variance because it's ground. So let's pop the color guide on there. We've got grounds around the edge there. There we go. New test. Oh, oops. Exit. Wrong kind of test. Color test. New test. 81. Okay, that sounds about right. So 81 versus 79, different sample. But it's interesting because according to the SCA, 81 is very light, and according to the SCA, 79 is just light. So a 2-point difference from a slightly different section of the sample makes the SCA claim, oh sorry, wait, sorry, we're upside down, yeah. 2-point difference makes SCA go, that's light and that's very light. Okay, so I'm going to write that down on the jar. I'm going to average the two and say that it's an 80, because we got 79 and 81. Average my two samples, and so let me dump this, but first let's get a can for my medium roast. Even though they claim it's a light roast, I'm calling it a medium. Sue me. Okay, so this goes in here. Oh, there's a couple, maybe pull that out, a couple really weirdly roasted beans in there. Some outliers, some Quakers, whatever you call them. Okay, so this one is, crap, I forgot what it was on the outside. Oh wait, I measured it. Hold on. What was it? It was, oh wait, that's particle history. Oh, that's right, 65 and 71. So I'm going to call this one Kaku 6175. Sweet. Okay, now I gotta do some more measuring. Let me dump this. If anyone has any device questions, feel free to launch them my way. Let me dump this. Okay, and then we'll come back over here. And I'm gonna plop OmniFlux back here. And let's now do the 38. Wait, no, I want to try the really dark one. The 30. Yeah, the really dark one that we did, the 30. I want to see what the outside, how it compares to the inside. So let's do a little bit in here. Whoa, that was way too much. Sorry about that. I didn't need that much. Alright, grind this up. Alright, way too much. Let's do 2 samples so that we can get a nice average. So we'll do one on OmniFlux and one on Omni. It smells so dark. Whoop, sorry, I didn't mean to put my head in there. Alright. That is one dark coffee. I wonder how it compared. It was 30 on the outside. I wonder if we'll get down to 30 on the inside, or if it's, I'm going to guess that this is going to be about 42. Alright, new test. OmniFlux says 36.8, Omni says 37.3. Average the two of them, you got almost exactly 37 on the dot. Perfect. So, where was the 30? I lost it already. So, our Kaku 30 is now officially a Kaku 3037. Perfect. Okay, so this one's done. We still got to test the 45, the 61, and whatever else is on here. So, a lot of coffees to test. Oh, that one's 4047. I'm already done. This one's 38. All right, we're gonna do the 38 next. Actually, I want to clear out the grinder. Let's go back and forth between darks and lights so that I don't get some like residuals in there. So here we're gonna go with the 61. Ooh, that smells good. All right, there was actually a bean in here, so let me grind that through. I always feel so bad wasting coffee just so that I can do testing on it, but there isn't really another option, is there? I wish there was a better way for you Instagrammers to see, but I need both hands. So maybe I can set you up like this, and then at least you can see the testing. We'll move these closer together. Alright, that'll have to do, Instagrammers. I apologize that you can't see better, but if you head on over to YouTube, you can actually see very well. Okay, so let's dump a little bit of this in here. Grind that. And then I'm going to put the lid back on. So this is the 61. And then we're going to these off, clear these out by dumping them into the roast tray. Okay. Sweet. let's do another batch. Whoop, that's not enough. Okay. Guess we need a little bit more of that 61. Now I know for next time. Stick on here. Alright. Pour this guy on here. Alright. And let's smooth out our sample. Probably gonna need a little bit more in there. Fill out those gaps. There we go. A little bit more in the corner here. Fill in those gaps. So the sample size on Omni is actually much smaller than on both A1 and OmniFlux. That is because Omni uses a fundamentally different technology. So does Omics, but actually Omics' tray is the largest. That's because Omics is kind of designed for like a very professional environment, so you get a large sample size and the most accurate way of measuring. Omni has a much more accurate way of measuring than both A1 and OmniFlux, but because it uses like the color scanning technology instead of just the single point sensor, both of them will give you a good indicator of agtron value, but if you're trying to get that distribution, Omni is the best way to go. New test. Alright, so we've got 78.3 and 73.8. That's so funny. So the distribution that you get from Omni can show us why we get such a variance here. So we've got most of our coffee is between 70 and 80 and 80 and 90. But you can see there's still a lot along this range. So depending on what ends up in your sample, there's going to be a range. So for this coffee, to get 73.8 and 78.3, we've got a decent amount of variance in there. Probably because it's a lighter roast. So some of those beans, because they're not all the same size, were darker on the outside, and then it's not as even as when I got to the darker roast. I think I'm gonna play around with airflow and stuff to kind of change that. But yes, I'll show you on Instagram there. So average them together. We've got like 75. Let's just go 75, and then I can. Oh wait, dump this in here. 75. That's my number. Sweet. Okay. And so I can write that on here. So we've got this Kaku 61 is a 6175. $61.75. So that one's done. Next, we're going to do our 38. Kaku 38. I'm going to put a little bit in and run it through as usual. So we can get a nice clean sample. Thank you. Wait. Now you're straight. Oh, thank you. I just got some water to drink. Mm-hmm. It's not enough. So I would expect that the difference between these two is going to be smaller than the other one, because now we've got a much darker roast. So this one was a 38. So I think, considering it's a 38, we're going to have it's going to be more of a homogeneous sample, would be my guess. Alright. New test. Test. Alright, we got 39.8 and 41.1, so that looks like a 40. So let's go Kaku 38 is now a Kaku 3840. So that's a pretty even 38 on the outside, 40 on the inside. It's pretty darn even. But that's still a pretty darn dark roast. Not my favorite, but it'll make some good affogatos, so can't complain. Are you still there, Ben? Or are you working? Okay, now we gotta do the 45. This is the Kaku 45, and we're gonna test the color of the 45. 45. We don't need that much, but let's find out. Because if that's the right amount, I can pour about that much every time. So that was the 45. Let me just dump this. Okay. Grind all of that. Round. Dump it into my sample. Dump it into my sample tray. There we go. A lot of that's sticking. It is a oily 45. Alright, one sample prepared. Let's do the OmniFlux sample. It's nice to have multiple color meters. Don't have to prepare a bunch of samples one at a time. I can just do them all at once. There we go. Test. New test. Alright, so we've got 46.5 and 48.7, both medium dark. So let's average them. We got 46.5 and 48.7, so that's like a 47 pretty much. So 47, so this Kaku 45 is going to be a 45-47. That's pretty darn even as well. 45, 47. The inside and the outside within 2 points of each other. It's pretty darn good. Good job, Roast. Okay, we've got a couple more. Let's try the Dennis sample where Dennis gave me the roast profile, and I just followed it exactly and let it drop when it auto dropped. No, that's the 6175. So that sample was this one. I call it the Dennis 210 because it dropped at 210 degrees. So now we're going to see if we get the same thing. That's not what I meant to say. We're going to see if we get, we're going to see what color we get. I didn't actually measure the outside, so I should measure the beans color of this one too. So let's do that first, actually. Let me start grinding that. Alright, so we should expect to see a little bit more variance here because of the chaff, and just the outside of the bean is not as even as the insides. Welcome all you new peeps. We are measuring the color of our all of the roasts that we've done so far, but with all of the same coffee. So, pop that on, pop that on, test. So Omni's giving us 66.7. Here we've got 63.4, so that's kind of like a 65. So our Dennis roast is a 65 on the outside, and what is it on the inside? It's a much better way of naming your coffees than just like a medium dark roast. Let's see, will OmniFlux work with Artisan? Let me Google real quick. Still working, eh, Ben? Too bad I can't help. Artisan roaster. Oh, the software. So we want it to. The issue is how to get the data. Pretty sure that because there's a USB out and a USB-C port. So I'm pretty sure that you can get data off of it via USB-C or USB-A, I'm not sure which one of the two. So it should be possible, but there's a process to get it going, and I don't know what that process is. I do know that they're in talks with Cropster on getting it to be compatible with Cropster, so I imagine if it works with Cropster, it will work with Artisan, but it's probably a separate process. So not immediately, but yes. Okay, so that was 65, and let's see. We dump this back in. Oh no, I'm wasting my Dennis coffee. Sorry, Dennis. Always falls along the edges. Okay, now we can do the ground. So that was, did I write it down? Yeah, 65 outside. Now let's do the grounds. So we'll flip this guy over, this guy over. Ooh, that smells good. Dennis knows how to build a profile. Alright, let's see. Prepare our sample. Get it nice and even. Perfect. Okay. All right, Dennis. Here we go. Omni's about to die. New test. 71.9 and 77. Oh, that's quite a difference. His standard deviation is 11. So yeah, you can see the distribution here. So you can see again why you would end up with multiple results. So average them, that's like 72 to 77, like a 75. So, whoa, sorry. So Dennis's coffee is a 65-75. It would probably be a little bit more even if I were to go through and pick out the Quakers and whatnot, but that's not as fun. Okay, so this can go in here. I wonder what I can do with all of this mixed roast level coffee powder. Should I make an espresso with it? I wonder how that would taste. Probably absolutely delightfully amazing, obviously. Welcome, new peeps. We are measuring coffee color. We've got two, oh wait, no, this one's done. We've got one more. One more to know the color of. So that was 65-75. Alright, last one. This one was a 45 on the inside. 45. 45. And so we're going to measure this last one. Let me do some grinding. Let's start by purging a little bit. Dump it. Grind the rest. This 45 actually smells really, really nice. And I wonder how it compares to my other 45s. Because I did have a few that ended up at 45, not just that one. So we'll measure and we'll check. Alright. Get that nice and even. I wish we could play music or something. I feel like I'd end up just getting a copyright strike by YouTube and Instagram, but it'd be nice to have something for us to listen to. So, oh, Omni died, so I'll just have to there we go, new test. I'll have to do 2 samples with OmniFlux. So 53.3, remember that everyone, 53.3. I'm going to put it here in case it's not enough. I didn't charge Omni after I got back from the ROEST festival, which I probably should have. I was too busy charging everything else and totally didn't think about charging Omni. Sorry about that. That's okay, it made it up until the last one. So this time we are averaging 53.3 and add test. Oh, so I don't have to average. 53.8. Okay, that sounds good. 53.8. So 45 inside, 53.8 outside. Shazim zam. Shabim bam. 45 and 53.8. So that's one of the awesome things about OmniFlux's UI. You can do new test or add test. So if you do a if you do add test, you can just add multiple tests together and get an average and not have to do the average yourself. Okay, so that's pretty interesting because look at this. We've got two 45s. Well, one on the inside was 47 and the other one was 53.8. And then I forgot again what I think I had 340. No, that was 65. 65, 61, 40, 60, 50, empty, 30, empty, 61. Yeah, okay. So, at some point in the near future, we're going to be doing a cupping with all of them, and it's going to be fun. But in the meantime, as long as the communicating protocol of OmniFlux is not encoded and open, it should be fairly easy to implement. Artisan being open source is nice. Yeah, none of the DiFluid devices are encoded. Or I actually don't know what you mean by encoded, but they're all open. So our scales and R2 extract, the refractometer, work with Bean Conqueror. So they're open and available for other people to incorporate into their apps. So it should be fine to work with Artisan. I will double check and I will get back to you on the next stream. Or I just opened the. I didn't realize it was closed. I just opened the YouTube community. So if you're on Instagram, obviously you know how Instagram works. But if you're on YouTube, there's a community page and you can post on it. So you can be like, hey, you should do this next time, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's all I have for today. Dump that back into the pile. I like looking at the different colors of the ground coffee on top of one another. But what should I do with this? If you have any suggestions, drop me a note. But for now, I think that's all I had for today. I'm going to leave you with one final thing that I think is super cool. So OmniFlux comes with this guy over here, like a standard tripod mount. But who wants a standard tripod mount when you can just use the magnetic feature? Boom! How cool is that? You just pop it right back where it needs to go. Super handy dandy. So yeah, that's, unless you have any other questions or things to ask or things to say, subscribe for next time. And I will see all of you in the next stream. Thanks for joining. Love you all. And make sure to send me all your suggestions. Send them on the DiFluid Instagram. Send them on the DiFluid community page. How close is the release date? It's the pre-sale, like a pre-order launch thing is going to be at the end of this month. And then it will probably take about a month to get the manufacturing ramped up and ready to ship. And the rest of the time between now and then is all this beta testing to make sure everything's accurate and that there are no bugs. I did notice a couple bugs that I got to report. Some of the text needs to be changed. They're also working on just quality of calibration and make sure we have maximum precision. So yeah, about a month and a half to 2 months will be the day that you get it in your hands. And yeah, if you have other questions, you can continue to leave them and someone will get back to you. If you leave questions on the DiFluid Instagram, you'll get somebody who does regular customer service and knows what she's talking about. If you leave them on YouTube, it will likely be me responding, but not necessarily. If you have questions for me specifically, you can either follow or just send me a private message on my Instagram, the James Corwin. Yeah. And I think that's it. Love you guys. James is off.